hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Hello, my name is Terry. Welcome to my kitchen. So, today we're going to have a great conversation. I can't wait to kind of get started. We're going to get a little deep today. So, because we're getting a little bit deep, our meal that we're going to be cooking is actually going to be pretty light. So I'm sure you all have seen the title of this video. We're going to be making my version of jerk chicken wraps. This is my like island take on if you've ever been to PF Chains, a little Asian bistro chain. It's all around the country. They have like these Asian chicken lettuce wraps. They're one of the most popular dishes. And so I was like, in my head, I was like, I want to do something with like ground chicken, right? Because I want to be able to use my green seasoning that I have a video up on my channel. So that's where I kind of developed this recipe. I was like, we're going to do jerk because I love jerk. And here we are. So again, thank you so much for joining. Can y'all hear me good? I realize that I don't have my AirPods on. So let me know if y'all can hear me good. I know if I walk away from the camera, it's probably going to get a little bit low. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that right now so y'all can hear me. Make sure you guys have liking this video. Please be sure to like the video. Okay. Uh-oh. There we go. Y'all know, look, we might struggle stream today. Let me see who's in the chat. So we have Maggie, the substitute teacher. She left a comment saying great menu and great conversation. Thank you so much, Maggie, for the support. Everybody be sure to check out my fave, Maggie, the substitute teacher. She's a content creator here on YouTube. She cooks. She streams every single day. If she's not streaming what she's cooking, or if she's not cooking on her live stream, she's telling us about her dining adventures. She's been posting some adventures because she's been in Boston this past weekend. And then I believe that Maggie is going to be on her way to the UK either today or tomorrow. I don't know. If you go ahead and make sure you subscribe to her channel, she posts a lot on her community tab. So you will be able to keep up with Maggie there. We have Celeste in the building. She says this is going to be a good one. It is. I'm actually really excited about it because when I was doing my outline, because I was like, oh, like this is a good topic. We're going to talk about some good stuff here today. All right. And Celeste is also saying good afternoon to the chat. Thank you so much, Celeste, for being here. She's reminding us to please hit the like button on your way in. Please be sure to do that. That helps out with everyone being able to see my videos and the content. We talking about some good stuff here, y'all. So make sure you let everybody know. We got Yvette here. She's saying, hey, the sound is good. Thank you so much. Who do we have here? We got Real Bravado Network. Hey, beautiful Black woman, have a good cook. Thank you so much, Real Bravado Network. He also, no, go. No. That was a mommy moment. No. Yes, you can. Okay, so yeah, so Real Bravado Network. Sorry, y'all. That was just a real mommy moment. But Real Bravado Network is also a content creator on YouTube. He's a part of the YouTube Mastermind. He is an amazing man. I got a chance to check out his live the other day, and it was great. I really enjoy his perspective. He was talking about King Pookie, Mr. 7 Kids with the 7 baby mamas. He was talking about him, but he wasn't necessarily like talking about it from a perspective of like going in on King Pookie or scolding him or anything like that. He kind of like posed a question about like men, mental health a little bit, and then also like the challenges that men face, especially in dating and all of that kind of stuff. He also has, I believe he said he had like a series of videos where he was talking about how Black men can improve so that the community can improve. And so I have that on my watch list because I want to see what he has to say, because I appreciate a man like him of his stature and his value teaching the young men of today. Okay. All right. So we got everybody just saying hello. All right. So let me get started with the food and then we're going to get to our topic. So guys, again, we're going to be making some jerk chicken lettuce wraps. Let me show y'all what I have done here. So typically when people do anything with ground chicken, You could buy the ground chicken in the store. I used to do meal prep here in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And one of the things, one of the protein options that I had was ground chicken. And I realized very quickly ground chicken was just too much money to buy already ground up. And I know the hack at the grocery store, they charge you based on what they got to do. So the more they break down the meat and butcher the meat, the more expensive it is. That's why you find like certain cuts all more expensive and everything. So instead of buying ground chicken, I did this for two reasons. One, it was cheaper. And two, I didn't want to use chicken breast. Chicken breast is usually what they use for ground chicken. I wanted to use chicken thighs because it's more flavorful. There's more natural fat with it. So that way I don't have to add in too much more. I will say this for this recipe, you don't have to do it this way. You don't have to grind up your own chicken. I'm just a little bit extra if you haven't noticed. So we are going to, oh no, I only have one glove left. Oh well. So I'm just gonna take this out of here. I just wanted to show y'all that I did this. I did trim off the fat. Of course, I took the skin off, took the bones out, trimmed off the fat, some of the fat, not all of it, because we do need some fat here. This recipe is gonna be pretty lean. So I'm just gonna put this in my bowl and sit it to the side because I want to make our sauce that we're gonna be making today. So with our lettuce wraps, of course, we're gonna make the chicken. It's been ground up. And then we're gonna also cut up some veggies, some bell peppers to go inside of it, some green onions. Like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna use some of my green seasoning, and the video is on YouTube, how to make that green seasoning. Jerk seasoning, of course, and then we're also gonna have our own little sauce. So if you get the chicken lettuce wraps from PF Chang's, it has like a little sauce to go over it. It's so good. So we're gonna make our own sauce. It's not gonna be anything like that. It's gonna be a little creamy, but I'm gonna show y'all right now what we're gonna do with that. I really was kind of debating. I wanted to make a dairy-free sauce, and I bought some coconut milk, but I don't really want the coconut. I don't think I want the coconut flavor myself. So I decided to use, oh, I already have it out, some Greek non-fat plain yogurt. I was gonna buy a dairy-free version, but the store I was at, they didn't have it. So this is where we are. I do try to limit how much dairy I use, but unfortunately, that's not always possible. Wait, before we do that, we got to cut up this mango. So a part of our sauce, we're gonna have it's gonna be like a creamy mango habanero. You can buy, because I did actually buy some mango slices. That way I wouldn't have to buy like a huge one like this. But I decided I wanted to get like a fresh mango because fresh mangoes are the best. And we can just slice out the flesh. This one is very, very ripe. So it's soft and it's going to make sure it's going to grind up really good. Make sure if you are going to use mangoes, fresh mangoes, you make sure it's ripe because a mango that is not all the way ripe is going to be super, super hard and it's just not going to come out right. So that's actually why I bought both this fresh and both the mango slices. So with here, I'm just cutting around the pit. We don't need a whole bunch because I'm not going to make a ton of sauce, but I'm just cutting around the pit. I did like little cubes inside, and then I'll take a spoon and just spoon out the flesh. So y'all, part of the reason why I wanted to talk about mental health is because I watched Tyrese's video or his interview on Sway. Y'all know Sway has a morning show on XM radio or XF radio or something like that. I think it's called like Sway Universal. Same show that Kanye did years ago talking about how Sway. So Tyrese was on his show, and Tyrese basically was talking about his divorce and like all the things that were going on in his life. Y'all, it was sad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you've seen the video. I am not actually going to show any videos today. If you would like to see the interview, I believe it's about an hour long. It is on YouTube. Sway has all his interviews on YouTube. We all know that. Remember Kanye. So yeah, just a few pieces of mango. We don't need too much. Then I'm gonna cut up our habanero because we're making a mango habanero sauce for our jerk chicken lettuce wraps. Okay. All right. Let me get some of this stuff out the way. Our food processor that I ground up my own chicken, but you do not have to do that, y'all. Sometimes I'm a little extra. So I am putting on a glove. I cannot believe I only have one glove left. Something told me when I was in the store that I need to buy some more gloves. Make sure you keep gloves in your kitchen, y'all. It makes cooking much easier, especially when you're dealing with like raw meat or if you're going to be dealing with hot peppers. So the reason why I'm putting my glove on is because these habaneros, the juices and oils can get on your skin and you will find yourself in pain from the heat. So I have cleaned all my veggies beforehand. I am just slicing up the habanero. I only want to use the skin. I'm not going to use the seeds because that's where most of the heat is. So that's why you see me kind of cutting around the top part. I have about 3 habaneros. Me and my daughter both like spicy food. So that's why I'm going all in. But again, I'm not using the seeds. So it's going to help out a whole lot to not be super spicy. If you do get a little bit of the seeds in, that should be okay. But depending on your spice level, you can gauge. I would say start with like 1 to 1.5 uh, habaneros, and then you can go from there. So we're gonna actually put the mango and the habanero in a little chopper, little food processor chopper, mini chopper thing. But I do want to just cut it up a little bit because that's gonna help the chopper. My chopper is old. I need some new choppers. I will say this for someone who cooks a lot, um, your kitchen tools, they do wear after a while. So buying like when you're young, when I was young, I was just buying cheap stuff that my grandmother and mom, they were blessing me and buying more expensive things for me. But y'all, as soon as you can, buy better quality stuff. It matters, especially when it comes to pots. So I'm just gonna put in my habanero, my little mini chopper, and I'm also gonna put in my mango. All the mango. Y'all saw how much I cut up. I didn't use the entire mango, probably about 3/4 of it, a little less, maybe 2/3. So I have my habanero and my mango in there. I am going to also add in just 1 clove of garlic because I don't want it to be too garlicky. And again, I'm just chopping it up to kind of help it out because this mango and this habanero, it's going to need some help. And then also what I'm going to add to the mini chopper to kind of help is some lemon juice. Fresh lemon juice is best, but if you don't have fresh lemon juice or if you're not able to get it, just go ahead and use some bottled lemon juice. That's fine. Try not to get the seeds in there. We do want the juice of 1 lemon. We're going to need the liquid. I don't want the sauce to be super thick. And depending on the consistency of our peppers and mango, that's going to determine how much Greek yogurt we're going to put in there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put so this is the little mini chopper I'm using. Y'all, you can get one of these for like $10 at Walmart. It's so cheap. It's super cheap. All right. Woo! Let's see. Are there certain brands that you prefer for different utensils? Um, no, I can't say I'm loyal to any particular brand. What I will say though, I do look at reviews. I am actually a one of those people that every time I go on Amazon, they look at how many people, how many stars, and then I also am going to look at how many people reviewed it, and then I'm going to read through the reviews, the good reviews and the bad. I will say this: some of the hot big names that they're more expensive, but they're not the greatest quality, depending on what it is. So KitchenAid stand mixers and like food processors and things of that nature, love them. That food processor that I use to grind my chicken, KitchenAid. However, they're like kitchen utensils and like forks and knives and spoons, cooking utensils. They're really not all that great. So I don't, I'm not married to any brand, but I will say make sure you read the reviews. We got Chelsea Liveline here. Hello, my sexy and strong in chat. Thank you so much for being here, Chelsea. Chelsea also has a channel here on YouTube. Make sure you check her out. She does some really great content, and I really appreciate the support. We building a little community here, y'all. I love. Can I just say I love this how like all the Black content creators are really like building this strong community. I really shout out to Lead Attorney because he's one of the big reasons why there's so many of us are coming together, and then we're just kind of like finding each other in different ways. So shout out to y'all. I appreciate the support from everybody. Speaking of which, we got Smoke and Talk here. Good evening, everyone. Baltimore in the building. Hello, Smoke and Talk. Y'all make sure y'all check out Smoke and Talk's YouTube channel as well. Please be sure to subscribe. Everybody go ahead and if you can, if the mods can drop the links to some of the folks we got in the chat. Everybody just engaging with each other. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm still cutting this up, y'all. We got to get this. All right. So it's still kind of thick. I'm going to be honest. I don't like how thick it is. I might put it in the blender. This is the consistency. I'm going to show y'all. This is not the consistency that I want. So I might need to use a blender, but we'll see. This is where we are. You can keep letting it just go ahead and blend. And I think that's what we're going to do for right now. All right. Back to Tyrese. So I watched Tyrese's interview on Sway in the Morning, Sway's Universe, whatever it's called, the other day. And y'all, that man hurting. That man is hurting, and he has been hurting for a long time. And because I saw the look in his eyes, the expression on his face, his body language, like you could just feel his energy. And it was very heartbreaking to see somebody who literally at one point Tyrese was like on top of the world and one of the most famous entertainers because he's an actor and he's a singer. Like he was doing the damn thing. And to see him in this space right now was very heartbreaking for me. During his interview with Sway, he talked. Well, first, let me just say this. First, I saw the clip of him on Instagram, I believe. That's the social media I'm on all the time. So I saw him on Instagram, and during that clip, he was talking about being on psychotropic medication and like how that was affecting him. He literally said he was on meds when that famous meltdown video, "What else y'all want from me?" or whatever he was saying. He was saying he was on medication. Like he even said, like he mentioned something like he had asked Will Smith for like $5 million, and Will Smith gave him $5 million. He said that never even happened. He was just out of his mind. Those meds were like making him crazy. In addition to all of the stuff that he was going through with his divorce and like the custody issues and all of that. I'm not getting into that. That's not what the video is about. But I just wanted to use that as a segue into the topic for today, which is really about like Black people and mental health. We've all seen a variety of celebrities who've had public breakdowns. So, of course, we know about Tyrese. We done seen Martin Lawrence. He finally, I mean, of course, there was some drugs going on there too, but he also talked about like, you know, all types of anxiety and all those types of things. Kanye, like all of these people. Summer Walker has been very vocal about her anxiety issues. We've seen it all, right? What struck me as interesting, though, is the number of Black celebrity men in particular who've had, you know, had these issues, have come forward and have also like had their own public meltdown. Some of our most beloved and powerful Black celebs have suffered in silence for so long. And like, when you think about it, especially now, because it's kind of trendy, the whole mental health thing is kind of trendy. It kind of broke my heart a little bit. And then also like, why? Like, why are Black people, especially Black men, but Black people in general, suffering with mental health issues or whatnot, despite there being so many resources available, especially now? If this was like 30 years ago, I couldn't say that. But like today in 2023, there's so many. All you got to do is type in hashtag Black mental health in any social media platform, and you're gonna come up with like hundreds of people, like different therapists, all that type of stuff. So if we want to really know like why we have so many Black folks like suffering with mental health in silence, many of them, we really kind of got to start from like the beginning. We have to look from like a historical aspect. So we're going to get into the historical part here shortly. Let me see y'all talking in the chat. Let's see. Chelsea says, thank you. And yes, it is a whole community. Celeste is asking everyone to drop your channels. Please drop your channels in the chat if you haven't already. Yes, yes. Chelsea says, facts. All right, y'all. I got to get this. Let's see. I'm going to bring over my blender. We live. It's fine. We live. I'm going to go get my blender. All right. All right. So I'm going to blend up our fruit and pepper, our mango and pepper, because it's just going to be better for us to get the consistency that we want. So this is the thing. When cooking in the kitchen, things ain't going to always go the way you want them to. You got to be willing to compromise, or not compromise, improvise, find other ways, make it work for you. That's one of the reasons why I like cooking so much, because it's just like, okay, well, if that don't work, then I can try something else. It allows me to be creative. So this is what we're going to have to do. We may need some more liquid. We are going to need more liquid. Oh, I don't know what we can use. Let's use some more lemon juice because I don't have any juice available. If you have like, I should have bought some mango nectar. If you have mango nectar, you probably can use a little pineapple juice, so like a mango pineapple situation. If I had some chicken broth, I would do that. Uh-oh. I just put the seeds in here, y'all. So there's different options for liquids. The thing is, I will say this, if you're going to use a blender as opposed to a food processor, be prepared. You know what? We're just going to grind this up and strain it. Be prepared to have to use some kind of liquid. Food processors can grind things up without having a lot of liquid to start it with, but blenders cannot. I'm going to put this on mute so y'all ain't got to be aggravated. And we're going to. All right. This is better. This is better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just make the sauce up in here. I'm going to put, so this is about a 5.3 ounces of Greek non-fat plain yogurt. If you are if you're a person who doesn't like dairy, you can use a dairy-free version of plain yogurt. I actually was preferring to use that. However, the store that I went to today, they didn't have that. And I went to 2 different stores, y'all. I wasn't about to go to no more. All right, so I put in about a half of the container of the Greek yogurt. I'm going to also go ahead and add in a little honey. That's going to help with the heat as well. If you can, make sure you buy like a raw, unfiltered honey. Y'all try not to buy the little teddy bear, because that's not going to be the greatest quality honey. If you can, buy local, but honey is not cheap. All right, it's a few comments. Ooh. Hopefully this is not extremely loud. All right. yes. Okay, this is more of the consistency that I wanted. Let's get a spoon, taste this, see how we got to season it up. It's spicy. All right, I'm gonna put in a little bit more yogurt, more honey, and I'm gonna add in a little garlic powder because y'all know I love me some garlic. Then the consistency is perfect. So I would recommend just use a blender. Don't try to use your food processor. The blender is going to be better. If you have like an immersion blender, that could work too. The little blender that you about this tall, and you can put it inside of a pot. All right. Okay. Let's taste. And this is just to drizzle over our. That's good. That's good. I personally want some more mango, but we're going to move on. All right. So I'm going to put this in here. There's our little sauce. I'm gonna let it chill in the fridge while we're cooking. This is just a drizzle. It's not to drown it, so I would say this. Be mindful of how much mango or habanero you're putting in there. But like I said, me and my daughter, we like spicy, so we can handle it. But I use 3 habaneros, no seeds, just the skin. And y'all, that was spicy. You saw how much honey I had to add in there. All right, let's get this stuff out the way, and then we're going to season our chicken and talk more about mental health. So y'all know I like to prepare my outline and get ready for y'all. I like to talk from a little more intellectual perspective. And unfortunately, one of the things that I found while doing a little research is not a whole lot of information out there about the statistics with like Black people and mental health, which is not surprising. But it's enough. It's enough to find out like overall where we are as a community. So let me take my glove off. We're gonna reuse this when it comes time to season our chicken. Let me update some of these comments, see what y'all got to say. Celeste says there's still a lot of stigma associated, in my opinion. Yes, it is. Real Bravado Network says I'm going to deal with this a little tomorrow when I do my KS tribute right before his channel goes live. Okay, I'll definitely make sure to put my post notifications on so I can see that because I would love to see what you have to say. Yes, tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is okay. So let me just say this because it's going to be said. Just so y'all know what Real Bravado is referring to, tomorrow is Kevin Samuel's birthday. So a lot of content creators, whether they personally knew him, were inspired by him, whatever, a lot of people are going to be paying tribute to him tomorrow. I believe his daughter has like restarted the page or whatnot, his family. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely go ahead and check it out. But you're going to see a lot of stuff tomorrow on the YouTube streets about that. Of course, garlic. Baby, I am a Black American lady, okay? We use garlic powder and onion powder. Look, outside of like when you're in Louisiana and they say the Holy Trinity is onions, celery, and what the hell is it? Onion, celery, and something else. Garlic and onion powder and salt. I don't know. That's my Trinity, darn it. All right, so Derek Gaines says hello. Welcome back, Derek. Welcome back. I really appreciate you being here. We had a great chat the other day, so hopefully you'll engage as well today. So again, back to the historical perspective of mental health in the Black community. I think we all can agree that one of the reasons why slavery in America was so successful for so long was because there was like a psychological molding in a combination to the physical violence that really like made the enslaved black people here in America feel like this is my life. I can't go anywhere. Like psychologically, they didn't even think that like freedom and escaping many of them was possible. So like if if we go there, we don't even have to go deep into it, but like just saying something like that, we can imagine what that kind of manifested itself into, like having to always be strong, having to hide your emotions, all of those types of things, right? So I wanted to share some statistics, or not some statistics, I'm sorry. This is an article that I found from healthline.com. I'm going to share my screen so I can show y'all. Because look, we can have great conversation over here, but we're gonna talk some real talk. So I'm gonna always show y'all some of the good articles and sources, pieces of information that I find. So this article, as you can see, is called "Black Families Have Inherited Trauma, but We Can Change That." So basically, in this article, they were talking about like if trauma is something that can be like passed down genetically. I'm not going to get too far into that, although I think there is a lot of truth to it. Just based on how the brain works, how I know how the brain development does, and what trauma does to children in brain development, and how that kind of like um, manifests itself, and those types of things can like be passed down genetically. So here we are. So this particular article, there was some things that I just wanted to point out. They do talk about like slavery and like all of those things that happened to black folks in America for hundreds of years, we know. um, and how that kind of has like shaped our culture as black Americans. um, Talking about PTSD and like how that has affected us. And here she says, the article says, on any given day, an enslaved person will have to work from sunup to sundown. If they appeared fatigued or unproductive, they would be called lazy and would be beaten. So think about this. If somebody is like telling you, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to look this way, you can't complain, you can't act like you tired, all that kind of stuff. Automatically, in order for me to get through the day without enduring any type of violence, I must keep that straight face, save face, put on, right? We've been putting on since we landed on this nation. So how else? I mean, it for me, it's obvious. Like, if you have to hide your emotions, then of course you're going to, keep that in. It's going to build up and it's going to blow up in however many various ways. It goes on to say, many parents today may not fear that their children will receive actual lashes, but the trauma from those experiences are embedded in our DNA. On a cellular level, we can still recall the negative outcomes. The stress on work ethic is a hypervigilant response to a centuries old trauma and is reinforced by the desire to disprove stereotypes that are still circulating today. Think about this. I know we all have, all of us, most of us in this chat, I don't see anyone else, but most of us in this chat are black people, whether you were born here in America or you've been here since little kid. Most black Americans know that we've all heard the phrase, you got to work twice as hard to be half as good, right? And that is not something that we just made up in the last 50 years. Like, that's been going on, that's been a mindset forever. So like, if you know that, like, I gotta put on, I gotta make sure that people don't think I'm lazy, that people don't think I'm this angry black man or woman, that people don't like accuse me of doing X, Y, and Z. I gotta be a certain way. I can't necessarily be myself, because if I exhibit too much of myself, that's gonna be too uh, you know, uh, intimidating. So we put on code switch, whatever you want to call it, right? But nobody ever talks about like the psychological effects of things of that nature. And that is the point that I'm really trying to like break down here. Like, you can't like just be in a bubble or like have this mask on every day, all day, or every day, 12, 16 hours a day, and that not affect you. It's definitely going to affect you. Similarly, during slavery, a parent would downplay their child's intelligence or strength to protect them from being seen as valuable and sold on the auction block. This practice can be seen today in families where Black parents may be proud that their child's achievements and celebrate them at home, but in the presence of mixed company, downplay their children's talent so they aren't seen as a threat. I personally cannot say that I have experienced this. However, I wouldn't be surprised if other people are experiencing it, especially depending on where you at in the world, in the country. You might be experiencing some things more than other places. So I personally haven't seen this myself, but I couldn't. I know these types of things go on, so I'm not going to be obtuse about it. Here is what I wanted to get to. I want to break down these last two paragraphs. Connections like these can be made in different areas of our everyday existence. J. Marion Sims is considered the father of modern gynecology, and most of his test subjects were Black enslaved women. Because it was believed that Black people did not feel pain, they were experimented on without anesthesia. I know we've all heard that. Fast forward to the early 20th century, Tuskegee experiments and current high infant and maternal death rates in the Black population and the Black community's general distrust in the medical system makes sense. These responses are not only a survival response, but one generated from DNA encoded information. The impact of these traumas are lodged in our DNA. So this is really what I'm like trying to get to, because I believe that Celeste said it earlier. There's still a stigma, very much so, in our community regarding mental health. And like the reason why I said we have to look from at a historical standpoint, because we got to see where that stigma came from. And those few paragraphs, I'm not going to keep going, but I will link this article in the description for you. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat. This article sheds light on why we have those stigmas. Like I said, the whole slavery situation. Then even after that, and like the experiments, the medical experiments and things of that nature. So in addition to all the psychological effects from the trauma that Black people have faced, we also have our distrust in the medical community. And of course, that's going to transcend over into the mental health community as well. Let's see what we got going on in the comments. Yvette says strong is overrated. Baby girl, it is definitely. The only strong that I am here for, okay, is strong in the gym. I will pick up that weight. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I lift heavy. I'll deadlift. I have squatted 300 pounds. I have deadlift 320 pounds, but I'm not trying to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like I'll pick up some heavy weight, but I'm not trying to pick up the heavy load that the world is trying to put on my shoulders. And I'm sure we all can relate. Every gender within our community can relate to the struggles of being us in America, okay? Strong is definitely overrated. Celeste says that's going to be a good live, Real Bravado Network. Yes, if you aren't subscribed to his channel, be sure to subscribe. He's going to have a good discussion. And it's going to be kind of revolving what we're talking about today. All right. Let's get back to the food. Y'all let me know what y'all feeling about this topic too. Drop your comments. I'm going to be asking us a few more direct questions, but what do y'all think about like the historical aspect? Is it relevant? Is it just, excuses? Do you think that the reason why we have some of the stigmas that we have is because of the things that our community has faced in this country for centuries? Do you think that it's because we soft? Like, what is it? Personally, it's probably all of the above. All right. So remember, I ground up my chicken. This is a little bit less than a pound and a half. All right. No. Someone asked, are you a psychologist? You have a mental health tag. No, I'm not a psychologist. I actually work in social services for about a decade. So behavioral health, social services, all of those things. I do have a degree in sociology, but I am not a psychologist, nor do I claim to be one. But we're going to talk about mental health, and so that's why it's tagged. So we are going to be using our green seasoning in our chicken. If you are not familiar with green seasoning, it is like an all herb-based, all-purpose seasoning. You're going to find it a lot in Caribbean and African cooking. If you are interested in making green seasoning, I highly recommend you check out the video that's on my channel. The green seasoning tutorial. Oh no, I forgot, y'all. I'm grating up garlic. So even though there is garlic in our green seasoning, we can never have too much garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and grate up a few cloves of garlic to season our chicken. This is going to be scrumptious. We're also going to be using some ginger. And I have a few different jerk seasonings to kind of help with that jerk taste. All right. Let me know what y'all thinking about some of the article we just read. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts on like the historical aspect? What is this? That's 3 cloves. I'm going to do one more because y'all know I love garlic. And then we're going to grate up some ginger as well. Like I said, this particular recipe that we are working on here, this is actually inspired by the PF Chang's chicken lettuce wraps that they have. So theirs, of course, is like an Asian flair because it's an Asian restaurant. But here we're going to do like an island version. Excuse me. Y'all have this cough that just will not go away. I had a sinus infection. I had a sinus infection probably for well over a week. Finally decided I'm going to get me some drugs from the pharmacist. So I had my little telehealth appointment and boom, sis sent that stuff over to Walgreens and there she wrote. I gotta love technology. All right. So that's about a tablespoon of ginger. So we have all of that there. I'm going to go in and add in some paprika. Let's see. Some paprika. I have this Grace Jamaican dry jerk seasoning. It does have sodium in it, but not a lot. So we are still going to use another sodium source. So I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle a little bit here, about a teaspoon. Of course, we're going to be using our garlic powder and our onion powder. Or that's garlic powder. We got a little onion powder here. Got some Kinder's no salt lemon pepper seasoning. Every time I make jerk, I always use lemon pepper. Every time. It just adds a nice little citrus kick to it. All right. Y'all have seen me use this before. It's almost gone. I got this from Kroger. This is their Simple Truth organic brand. It's called Jamaican style grilled spice. McCormick also has like a sodium-free or very low sodium Jamaican jerk seasoning. I like this because it has very, very, very little sodium. It's only about 40 milligrams per serving. So, and the serving is about a quarter of a tablespoon or teaspoon. So I'm just going to be a little bit liberal with that. All right. Then we're going to use our Walker's Wood wet Jamaican seasoning, Jamaican jerk seasoning. This is mild. You can use like a spicier version, but be mindful because it goes from like, okay, it got a little kick to, oh, this is kind of hot. So this is about the amount that I'm using. And keep in mind, I've got about a little bit less than a 1.25 pounds or 1.5 pounds. So, all right. I believe that is, oh no, we need our salt. So, for our salt source, I'm going to use a little bit, just a tiny bit of Creole seasoning, Tony's, love Tony's, and a little dash of chicken bouillon. We'll be able to taste it later to see if we need any additional salt. But y'all know I'm real picky about how much salt I use in my food. So this is why I'm going kind of light. So from here, I'm just going to mix it up with my gloved hand. You can use a fork. Forks work to mix up ground meat. But I like to cook like my grandmother used to with my hands. So this is why I tend to buy gloves. All right. In a minute, once I get this mixed up, I'm going to show y'all some statistics that I looked up because I want us to really kind of see. We know that there is like this stigma in our community revolving mental health. You know, nobody really wants to talk about it too much. It is kind of getting more and more trendy on social media, but even with that, like it's just like it's very surface, like, oh, I'm going to a therapist, but it's not like people really getting deep and dirty with it and recognizing that like all of us suffer in some types of ways. Not maybe not all the time. You may not have like a clinical diagnosis. However, you know, you might be having some little difficulties, and that is okay. All right, y'all. I gotta stop and recognize someone. We have Maggie, the substitute teacher, live. She says, proud of you, sent a small cash app. Keep cooking. Oh, let me check my phone. Let me check my phone. Let's see what we have here. Yes, thank you, Maggie, for the $2 cash app. She says, keep cooking. Appreciate you, Maggie. We're gonna get monetized, so y'all can just send super chats. But thank you so much, Maggie. Like I said earlier, y'all, make sure you check out Maggie. She is a content creator here on YouTube. Y'all saw her picture. She got an apron on. She cooks on her show. She's also a part of the Lead Attorney Mastermind. She has a few different channels, the Wives Club as well. Right now, she's in Boston. I believe she's on her way to the UK to do a huge, huge collab with Just Pearly Things. So make sure you check her out. I love Maggie. She is a huge inspiration of mine for my channel, and I try to support her as much as I can. So I really appreciate her returning and reciprocating the support. Like I said, y'all, we're building a community over here. All right, let's look at some of these statistics. I want to show y'all, and then we're going to cook our chicken. This is going to be quick. Let's see. Share my screen. So this infographic I was able to find, this gives like a really good like overview of like Black folks and mental health. So you start out, we got it here at the top where it says Black people, basically 13.4% of the US population identifies as Black or African American. Let me stop and say I do believe that this particular infographic was it was created in 2020. Okay, y'all, I gotta stop real fast and show y'all. Hold on one second. Because I just got another notification on Cash App. We got Real Bravado Network. Thank you. He says for supporting love supporting good Black women. I appreciate you, Real Bravado Network, for the $10 Cash App. He is now the stream sponsor. The stream sponsor is the person who donates the most via Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to show you guys this infographic back, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add Real Bravado Network, his name, to the stream. All right, so here we have it, 13.4% of the population, right? However, Of those, of that 13.4%, over 16 have reported having mental illness in the past year. That is over 7 million people. So 7 million people have identified that they have some type of mental health issue. These are Black people, right? And it goes on to say that's more people than the populations of Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia. All three of these cities are amongst the top 10 largest cities in the United States. So Black people hurting, y'all. We're hurting. We're literally hurting. We're suffering in silence. A lot of us are really not like talking about it. We're not really getting the help that we need. And I want to shed light on that so that we can change that. All right. Let me give Real Bravado Network his due. Bravado Network. Woo. All right. All right, y'all. I got a stream sponsor today. Shout out to you, Real Bravado Network, for the support. I appreciate the love. I really, really do. There he goes. There he goes. All right. So I want to show y'all another bit of statistics. Let's see. There is another page that I found. So the first one is from, let me give y'all, it is called, I'm gonna have to put the link in the description, y'all. But here's another website that has some more statistics I want to share. This particular website is called National Alliance on Mental Health, and it's giving more info on like Black people and mental health. So we already know how much we talked about racism. That's all this is talking about. We talked about racism and all that types of things and how that contributes to like mental health. Then it also goes on to talk about like socioeconomic disparities. And the reason why it's important to list out these things is because these are really giving us the reasons why we are suffering in our community with mental health issues. Socioeconomic factors can make treatment options less available. In 2018, only about 11.5% of Black adults in the United States had no form of health insurance. So we know not only are Black people not having health insurance, some of us that do have it might be underinsured as well. And so because of that, they may not have access to like a consistent therapist. Maybe they can go like once or twice through their job or whatnot. But hey, let me see what's going on in the comments. We got Real Bravado Network shouting out to Maggie. Yes. Celeste says, thank you so much for the support, Real Bravado Network. I really do appreciate you. Maggie saying hello. Yes, we love the support. I love y'all engaging. Yes. Oh, yes. Make sure you check out Real Bravado Network. All right. Back to our statistics. And then it also talks about like the stigma. This is the one bit of statistic that I'm just going to read the entire paragraph. It says, negative attitudes and beliefs toward people who live with mental conditions is persuasive within the US and can be particularly strong within the Black community. One study showed that 63% of Black people believe that mental health condition is a sign of personal weakness. As a result, people may experience shame about having a mental illness and worry that they may be discriminated against due to their condition. This is like the main statistic that really kind of like, I felt like brought home the point of we out here suffering in silence. Like people still to this day have a stigma. Oh, you crazy. You take medication. I'm gonna keep it real. Y'all know I live in Phoenix. Phoenix does not have the largest population of Black people, but we growing. Actually, I will say this fun fact. Phoenix is actually one of the largest growing cities in the United States. It's already like the 5th or 6th largest in the country, but it is definitely like one of the top 2 or 3 largest growing or fastest growing cities in the United States. And the fastest growing demographic in Phoenix is who? Black people. Fun fact. All right. So people out here hurting. They don't feel like it's okay to talk about mental health and all of these things. Here in Phoenix, because the Black population is so small, I find myself around all different types of people. It's very diverse in that way. Lots of people I know, white folks, Hispanic folks, Asian, whoever, right? And one thing I can say, especially being in this fitness space, a lot of the people that I come in contact with, they don't look like me, but we talk. We all talk about what's going on with ourselves and our clients. And because fitness is something that is so very personal to people, mental health is a lot in that. And I find, especially I work mostly with Black women, but all women, I have women of all ethnicities, but Black women is my target demographic because I want us to be healthy. And one of the reasons why I find a lot of my clients struggling with losing the weight and reaching their fitness goals is because of like the mental health aspect. We got a lot of stress. We got a lot of, especially for Black women, we take care of everybody, y'all. We really do. You got to go to work and you got to be all that you can be at work. Then you got to come home. You may have a husband, a boyfriend, you got kids, you have family. Like even my friends, my single friends that have no children, they still are looking out for everybody. Everybody, their parents. We all know, like as we're aging millennials, I'm pushing 40. We're now the parents to our parents. We gotta look after them, take them to doctor's appointments and everything. I think even Maggie talked about taking her mom to like a doctor's appointment. So as Black people in general, but I'm specifically talking to Black women right this very second, like we do a lot. And because of that, we tend to ignore things that are going on with us. And then we use methods to cope that aren't necessarily the healthiest. And that is a huge point to make. But before we get to that point, I'm going to pull up this comment because I feel like it's relevant. So let's say, as a health provider, it never ceases to amaze me that it's okay to take meds for an infected foot, tight lungs, etc., but not a hurt mind. It's wild. Yeah, y'all. So what I was trying to get at, talking about like Black people in Phoenix, because I'm around all different types of people, like we talk about all different types of things. And like one of the things I find that like a lot of like people of other ethnicities, especially like the white folks that I encounter at the gym, they don't have no problems taking any type of medication. None. I have talked to women of all ages that we have talked about anxiety because I have no problems admitting I do suffer from anxiety. This is why I wanted to talk about this topic. And I have met within the last few months because I have really been struggling with my anxiety personally. I've had a lot of difficult times. And I've met so many women that are like, yeah, I take such and such, I take this drug. And I'll ask them like, how does it help? Like, do you feel it's helping you? Da 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 da. And like raving reviews, right? And literally in my head, I'm like, I don't want to have to take medication. I don't think I'm that bad. Like I personally, and this is coming from a person who has worked in the behavior health and mental health field. I've literally recommended families, in order for them to keep their kids in the house, they got to go to counseling. And some of that is a part of getting medication. Like I've literally made sure that people get medication. I have even recommended that people need to get some medication to help them. But when it came to me, I was like, oh no, I don't need that. Now that's too much. I'll go to a therapist, but medication? So even me, even someone who is a little bit more well-versed in this field or in this subject, we still have stigmas because of all like the historical things around it. Oh, we ain't crazy. That's some crazy people stuff. There's nothing wrong with taking the medication. Like Celeste said, we could take something for a hurt foot, but for a hurt mind, we don't want to do that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and heat my pan up because we are going to cook this chicken soon. All right. So I have a few theories, personal theories, and I want to get y'all opinions on this. I've kind of touched on it a little bit. So lots of the issues there's lots of issues that plague us, right, as Black people. We've kind of touched on this at higher rates than other like racial and ethnic groups. Some of those issues are, and I don't have all the statistics. I didn't look up all these statistics, but feel free to look them up. We all know just off the top of our heads that Black people suffer at higher rates than others a lot of times with with obesity, violence, poverty, drug and alcohol abuse, risky sexual behavior, all of these things have been affecting our, not only has it like contributed to like the degradation of the Black family, but it all ties into our mental health. And unfortunately, I find that too many people, especially in the social media space, like present these issues from like a judgmental perspective instead of like an empathetic one. And because of that, I feel like that also feeds into like the stigma. Because, okay, we've talked a lot about like relationships and things of that nature, baby mama, baby daddy culture, all that kind of stuff, right? And when we're talking about those things, hear me out, y'all. When we're talking about those things, we talk about like the risky and like bad decisions and behaviors that go along with that culture. Has anyone ever thought about why people are engaging in these risky activities? Why people may be using these types of activities to cope with things that they're dealing with that they don't either know how to articulate or express, or they don't have anyone to articulate and express these issues. And so, like, I personally feel like it's all interconnected. And that's why I brought it up. Like, have you ever stopped to think about like why these issues plague us a little bit more than others? In my opinion, it's not a mistake. It's by design, if you ask me. All right, we got somebody in the chat. India Purnell. She leaves a heart and a elephant. Hello, India Purnell. I'm assuming she's one of my sorors. That's her new subscriber. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're liking the video on your way in. So yeah, y'all, like this kind of stuff is not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's not, it's in my opinion, it's by design. And a lot of these things are definitely contributing to like the mental health issues that our community are having. Like think about the coping mechanisms. Um, we I can just go from like a fitness standpoint. We got the Do Better podcast. Theo in the building. He says hit the like button. Thank you, Theo, for joining. All right, let me bring up my other camera because we're gonna start cooking. But I like to talk about like the coping mechanisms. I swear, y'all, that most people who suffer from obesity or just having issues with their weight, a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are using food as a way to cope with our life stresses. Instead of really figuring out what's wrong with us, we are eating ourselves to death. Hold up. I forgot. Before we do that, we got a few things to cut up that are going to go into our chicken. So, onions, or we're going to use green and red bell pepper. We're also going to use some green onions. So, I'm just going to dice these up. Let me know in the chat if you have yourself or you have seen someone else using things like food, the horizontal tango, those little activities, those extracurricular activities, drugs and alcohol. Have you seen or have you experienced yourself using those as like means to cope with like the stress of everyday life? I live in a place where marijuana is legal recreationally. And because of that, y'all, you find all type of people that use marijuana as a way to self-medicate. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying it's a thing. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, it doesn't really cause any problems. But we know that type of coping can escalate to more illicit and more dangerous drugs that can cause you to have a whole host of issues. Y'all, when I worked for social services, when I worked for CPS, the things that I saw on a daily basis were hard. I don't think about it because it would depress me. And even when I was working for CPS, like it was just a part of the job. Like you saw drug addicts all the time. You saw people who were suffering from alcoholism. You saw folks living in poverty all the time. You just kind of got used to it. But like the way that like a lot of when you actually sat down and talked to them, the drugs and the alcohol were the least of their problems. The drug and alcohol was mainly what was kind of, even though it was killing them in a way, it was kind of what was keeping them alive and maybe keeping from hurting themselves. Like people are out here hurting and they're finding any and every way to cope with that hurt. And so I really think that we have to stop and kind of, figure out like what can we do differently so that people aren't using these types of risky behaviors, using chemicals and things of that nature to kind of cope that's actually harming them more than it's helping them. Let me know in the chat if you or anyone has ever had to you if you've had a conversation with a friend. You don't have to tell your business. You don't have to tell your business. But if you've ever had a conversation with a friend and because they drinking a little too much, or they hitting the Mary Jane a little bit too much, their decision making skills are starting to suffer. Like these are all signs that people are hurting. And it's going to kind of go into like my last point of how do we go from here? How do we stop these things from happening? Because I don't know, I don't have the statistics, but I have heard this several times. I think I want to say, was it Real Bravado Network's live? Someone's live, a Black man who basically said like the rise in suicide attempts and successful suicides for Black men. Like that is a statistic that is rising faster than it ever has risen before. And we got to stop and think like, why are these things happening? Now, I know that like, the pandemic did a number on society. I personally believe it's going to take us a while to see the long-term effects of having people sit up in the house for 2 years, having very little human contact, children going to school virtually, like all of these things. I know for me, I saw a difference in my child with virtual school versus in person. Like mental health affects us all. It is something that we can't keep ignoring. And it's definitely something that we have to stop being scared to get help for. All right. So I diced up my my bell peppers, red and green. I have some green onions that we chopped up as well. And then I'm also going to go ahead and chop up some fresh cilantro. This is going to be like a little garnish towards the end for our lettuce wraps. If you're just joining us, we are making jerk chicken lettuce wraps. I just want to mince this up really nice. All right. I love cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, I know there's a lot of people who say cilantro tastes like dishwater. If you're one of those people, then skip the cilantro. But guess what, baby girl? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So that's enough cilantro. That's probably too much, but it's okay. I need to get one of those scrapers. I think Maggie had one on her live the other day. I definitely need one. As long as I've been cooking, some of the things that I have never bought is mind-boggling. But as y'all can see, I use enough dishes anyway. One more thing, that's going to be one more thing I got to wash. All right. Now we can preheat this pan. I had to turn it off. I didn't want to get it too hot. All right. Let me show y'all the lettuce we're going to use for our lettuce wrap. I got it sitting over here. So I'm using like big green lettuce leaves. I believe it literally was called green lettuce. I got one of those big heads of green lettuce and just tore off some of the leaves. I went ahead and rinsed them, and then I'm letting them dry over here. You can take some paper towels and dry them off, or if you have a salad or lettuce spinner, go ahead and do that. Make sure you wash and dry your lettuce, no matter how you're using what you're using it for. lettuce already has a lot of water in it, so you don't want like too much water. All right, I'm gonna turn this up. We're gonna cook this chicken up. All right, so last question for y'all, or last point question, whatever. How do we progress from here? Because we know we got a lot of stigmas around mental health in our community. We know why those stigmas are here from a historical aspect, folks, Tuskegee Institute, or, the Tuskegee experiment. We even talked about, Black women, enslaved Black women were used as their subjects for when they were trying to figure out the whole world of gynecology. They used enslaved Black women without anesthesia. So we know that there's like a whole distrust in the medical community as a whole and providers from that aspect. We have a historical aspect with the whole generational trauma, which there have been studies that feel or show that like this trauma is passed down genetically. All of this, right? Even like the culture of social media, and like even though we have folks that are using social media to bring awareness to mental health, we also have the aspect of like online bullying culture, and like people want to talk mess about folks and go in, and like all of these things. All of this are contributing to like our issues with the mental health. What does Celeste say? She said, this is tough. There are so many angles that this needs to / can be tackled from. We are an unhealthy and overstressed nation. Stress literally kills. She is right. She also says, is there a way to raise awareness of resources available to those who could benefit? If so, how? Don't worry. I have some resources for you. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just drop the link and I'll pin it. I actually have a link that I saved on my outline for, hold on one second. I am going to drop. So Celeste is already, y'all, Celeste, she don't even know it, but she's stealing some of my solutions. Y'all know I like to bring solutions. Let's see if I can pin this. How do we pin this? Pin. Oh no, I don't know how to pin my own comment. Oh, yeah, I don't know how to pin my own comment. All right. Oh, wait. So this is the link to a site that I found that talks more or gives you resources, mental health resources. So yeah, how do we progress from here? So personally, I kind of mentioned this earlier because I believe Chelsea said it on my last live, talking about going to see a therapist. I'm going to start by, we're going to use some coconut oil as our oil source. Can't talk. All right, this is hot already. So let me get my, woo, baby, this is hot. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in my ground chicken. We're going to brown this up. So yes, Chelsea the other day talked about, she mentioned something about her therapy session. I'm going to spread this out and let this kind of cook on this one side to get some good color. Make sure the heat is up so it can kind of get that sear. This is how I like to cook my ground meat. I like to, y'all know, when you get some color on that meat, that is how you know it gets some good flavor. Okay, so how do we progress from here? My first recommendation for anybody struggling, whether you got a diagnosis, you think you have a diagnosis, or you just find yourself feeling hopeless and sad and anxious all the time, get some help. Like, I have gone to therapy a few times in my life. I actually am in search for a new therapist because I feel like that is something that I need to help me kind of push past some issues that are reoccurring in my life. So I personally recommend therapy. This is the thing, y'all. I'm gonna keep it real. Not all therapists are created equally. They're not. Um, I would always urge, especially Black people, I'm gonna keep it real. I would urge you to find someone else who is Black. And the reason why is because there's a lot of cultural things and reasons as to why we are the way that we are. And it's best if you're going to be able to get extremely vulnerable, because really you need to get super vulnerable, be the most honest. Your therapist should know everything about you. Your therapist literally should be the one person that you don't lie about anything. You need to tell them everything about you, right? And the only way that a lot of people are going to feel comfortable doing that is by talking to someone who looks like them, may have had a similar experience as them. So I find that I do best and have done best with Black women as my therapist because they understand what it's like to be a Black woman. All right. So the good thing about the fact that I did my own ground chicken is it's not like super fine. It's going to be a little chunky. So I do like that. All right. This smells so good, y'all. I wish you can smell it. It's not like super ground up because I use my own food processor. So yeah. So definitely seek help. Like I said, I've gone to a therapist. I'm looking for a new one. If you have health insurance, please, please, please take advantage of it. A lot more health insurance companies are providing services or are adding that as something that is a part of your benefits. Most of the time, you can go about once a week. Even if you can't go once a week, every other week, or at least once a month. Somebody to talk to, y'all. Like, you'd be amazed how therapeutic it is just to be able to just lay all your shit out and not have to be like constantly on and like constantly strong. So I highly, highly recommend seeking a therapist. I did put that link in the comments. I hope it's pinned it. I tried to pin it. So let me know if it's there. That link, if you go to that website and scroll down, you will actually find a whole list of resources for mental health services. And Celeste brought this up, and this is one of the things that my third, how do we go from here? How do we progress from here? She says, we can start with our own villages, check in with loved ones, people who are suffering in the dark or someone's loved ones. Y'all, finding and creating a community is so important. Like, where's my phone? Oh, here we go. Finding and creating a community can literally save somebody's life. And even if for some people, it's going to be easy for them to, talk to their friends or family members. Not everybody has that. Not everybody's blessed to have those folks in their life. So it's really important to try to find and create the communities where you live. If you're a transplant, I know a lot of people in my city are not originally from here. Actually, another fun fact about Phoenix, not that I'm trying to make y'all move here or nothing, but over 60%, actually over 60% of the population in Phoenix are transplants. So in a city like Phoenix, you're going to find that folks don't have family out here. We're going to go ahead and add in our bell peppers. Since our chicken is like almost cooked, I'm going to add in the bell peppers now. I want the bell peppers to still have some crunch to it. I don't want them to be fully cooked. So if you've had like the P.F. Chang's, chicken lettuce wraps, they have like a crunchiness to them. Those are water chestnuts that they add into that. So I am going to use red and green bell peppers, because you will find that, especially in like Rasta pasta, anytime you do jerk. So that's why I'm using those. We're just going to let this cook up a little bit. So yeah, joining meetup groups. There's like a website. It's called meetup.com, I believe. And there you can find different groups of all different ages, interests, things of that nature. if you don't have like a built-in community in your local city, if you're new to a new city, you're not a part of any national organizations or any kind of alumni clubs or anything, I recommend looking for different meetup groups. They have different Facebook groups, ways that you can kind of engage and interact with other people so that you can build a community, because it's very important to be able to have somebody that you can call. No, may not be able to tell your girlfriends or your guy friends everything that's going on with you, but it's really important to be able to have some conversations so that you can not hold on to that stuff. Because a lot of times, as Black men and women, we hold on to a lot. We don't want to let other people know that we're hurting because we feel it's a sign of weakness. So we hold in a lot, but a lot of holding on to that information, that stress, it manifests, it shows up in other physical ways. Headaches. Theo talked about on his channel, he was talking about content creation, and he was talking about how when he was stressed out doing all this YouTube stuff, he was having headaches. Those were stress headaches. Stress can kill us, y'all. Stress can kill us. So you need people that you can talk to, that you can interact with, so that you don't feel like you're alone. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like community building is so important. Like back in the day, especially back in like the civil rights movement, like that is, I feel like when our community was at its peak, honey, like the way that we were mobilizing, not just in the South, but even up north too. Like if you think about the Nation of Islam, like y'all, we are a community-based people. We are not individualistic. Like we trying to be like other people and being individualistic, but Black people are about community. And one of the reasons why I feel like we might be struggling today is because we have lost that community aspect. So we got to get that back, and we got to get it back whatever way we see possible. I see Celeste went ahead and put this in the chat, the link to meetup.com. You can find different groups to meet up with, or try to find your own community, build your community. You can even make a meetup. You can make a meetup group. And one thing to note, some of the groups, they do cost, some of them don't. So go on the website, peruse it, see if you can find it. And lastly, I think this is also important, is just recognizing that like not everybody's going to feel comfortable talking about the things they're struggling with mental health wise. Let me check this before I go into this last point. Oh, okay, girl. All right. This is about done. So I'm gonna add in some green onions. Oh, this is lovely. All right, I'm gonna turn this heat off and let that just sit there. Y'all, this is good. I'm so excited. Okay. Not everybody's going to feel comfortable talking about their mental health issues, things that they're struggling with, and that's fine. But there are going to be people who are going to be very open and honest about the things that they're struggling with. Like I said, I know I personally struggle with anxiety. This is something that I deal with very regularly. Like it's not a game. And to be quite frank, I was talking mess about, I don't think I'm that bad, I need medication. I could probably use at the very least some ashwagandha, okay? Some herbal medicine, something to kind of help me, because my moods can fluctuate in an instant. I get triggered. I don't mind talking about it, but not everybody does. However, the people who do talk about it, the people who do share their journeys, y'all, we got to stop like making fun of them. We have to stop ostracizing folks. Like that whole situation with Tyrese is the perfect example of how like you never really know what people are going through. People think that because people have money, that means that like they're exempt from any type of issues. Kate Spade was basically a billionaire. And what happened? She deleted herself. She canceled herself. Robin Williams. Think of all these famous people. Who was the last one? The guy, the dancer from Ellen, Twitch, Snit, whatever his name. He's another example of a Black man leaving this earth way too early. Why? Because he was hurting in silence. He had literally posted a video a few days before. And then the next thing you know, he's gone. We hurting, and people are hurting, And the reason why a lot of people don't feel comfortable saying anything about it is because of the reactions that they're getting. So we have to be mindful of that. We got to offer people empathy. We got to allow people the room to tell us what's going on with them, because we don't want folks leaving this earth before they have to. All right, we about to plate, y'all. We are about to plate. Please make sure you check out these resources. I don't know how this plating gonna look, but hey, we'll get there. I think I'm going to make 2 lettuce wraps. I'm just gonna take off the bottom. All right, and get my plate. She's using some paper towels. All right, let's get a plate. Actually, we'll use this. All right. Okay. This is so cute already. Okay. We're going to add our meat. Then we're going to drizzle our sauce that we made. And then I'm going to taste this for y'all because I got to let y'all know how it tastes. All right. Woohoo! Already. Yes. This is our chicken lettuce wrap. So we have our sauce. Get a spoon. So we made a mango habanero sauce. Let me taste this. It's still a kick, but it's nice. So I'm just going to drizzle just a little here. And a little more on this wrap. All right. We put a little cilantro on top. And then we are done. This was quick. This was real easy. All right. Let me show y'all. Our chicken lettuce wrap, our jerk chicken lettuce wrap, y'all. We got our ground chicken, bell pepper, cilantro, and then our mango habanero sauce. Creamy sauce. Let me put a little bit more on here. Ooh! Before I taste, I am going to go ahead and get a little picture, a video, and then I'm going to taste it for y'all. I know this topic was a lot more serious than normal, but y'all, we're going to have to talk about the serious things sometimes. Sometimes nobody wants to get real deep, and that's understood. But at the same time, we got to bring awareness to certain things. And that video from Tyrese, that hurt my heart, y'all. That really hurt my heart. I want y'all to watch it. Okay. There we go. Then I'm going to get a video and I'm going to taste this for y'all. Yes. Ooh. Okay. Time to taste. All right. Okay, let me wrap it up like a little burrito. If you want some carbs, you can do you can add some rice to it. I was gonna make some rice, but I decided nah. Okay. Ooh, it's getting a little messy. Y'all, oh my God. Oh my God. This is so good. This is so good. And it was so easy. Look, I talked way more than it took me to cook because our topic was important. But this was really, really, really easy. The jerk flavor is there. It's not like too overpowering. There is some spice, there is some heat to it, but you can adjust it. The wet jerk seasoning is not that spicy. What really the kick is coming from is from our mango habanero sauce. But I use 3 habaneros. You don't have to use it. I'm actually going to put the recipe for this particular dish on my website. Also, I will also make sure to link the websites and resources that we have discussed on this live today. Y'all, if nothing else, if you don't get nothing else from this live today, I just want y'all to know that one, you aren't alone. It's very many people out here struggling with mental health, behavioral health issues, depression, anxiety, what have you, whether it's like a temporary thing or a clinical diagnosis. There are resources out here to help you. Depending on the city that you live in, you might even be able to find some free and reduced cost resources. If you have a job that provides health insurance, please use your benefits. Go talk to somebody, build a community, find a community. We need it, y'all. Our Black men, we need y'all. Our Black women, we need y'all healthy. Black men and women, y'all got to be healthy and y'all got to be able. We got kids to raise, y'all. We have a community that we need to continue to build. So, in order for us to do that, we have to be our healthiest. And it's not just physical, we got to be healthy here too. So, I hope that this just shed a little bit of light on the things that we are dealing with in our community. Let me pull up some of the comments. We got Celeste with the smiley faces. She says she gonna have to try this. Yes, you do. Yvette says, wow, we are hurting. For some, we don't talk about it because of how we are raised. Absolutely. We definitely don't. I don't ever remember you know what? Yvette also says in the church is what happens in this house stays in this house. Absolutely. So that's one thing. A lot of us have grown up in households where it's just like you don't tell outside folks in-house business. Is number one. And then number two, like a lot of us, especially us older millennials and Gen Y or Gen X, we were raised by old school Black people. You just didn't talk about like your personal issues just out there like that. My grandmother used to say all the time, "Oh, I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious." And like growing up, I never really realized. I'm like, what does that mean? What is she talking about? She anxious until I got grown and started saying, "Oh, I'm just so anxious." And once I started going to a therapist and like we did like these different assessments, I realized that anxious feeling is anxiety. That's what that was. My grandmother suffered from anxiety all those years and never got any help for it. She just dealt with it. I can only imagine the stress that she had raising a family, having a husband. He had his own issues, her kids having their issues, having to, be caretakers for grandkids. We got a lot going on, y'all. We can't be afraid to talk about it. So please, please, please use the resources we provided today or resources that you have access to. Also, before I go, I got to give a huge, huge shout out to our stream sponsor, Mr. Real Bravado Network, for his $10 Cash App donation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Also, shout out to Maggie, the substitute teacher, for her Cash App donation. Thank y'all so much. I don't ask for it. Yes, you see the information there, but I'm not going to ask. If you feel so inclined, you can support me. I have my information in the description box on the ticker. But those types of donations, they really, really help the channel grow. Literally, I'm buying food all the time, y'all. So I literally use the donations to buy different things and try different recipes. So really, really appreciate it, y'all. I will be back live on Wednesday. I do have a video that I'll be editing and putting up tomorrow. It's going to be a tutorial. So keep a lookout there for that. Please be sure to connect with me on all social media platforms. Everything across the board is My Sexy is Strong. If you want to reach out to me for any questions, whether it's fitness or whatnot, you can go to my website and send me an email there. Thank y'all so much for joining me today on this beautiful Sunday. I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all feel empowered to get help if you need it or to just help someone else that needs the help. All right. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you. Bye, y'all.